you may be hiding out today. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Andy Cluck, a member of the marketing team here at Ledgeview Partners. We're a Microsoft Dynamics CRM Gold Partner and Salesforce Consulting Partner, and I want to thank you for sharing time with us today to learn how empowering your employees and customer service agents with knowledge can boost your productivity, drive revenue, and create amazing customer experiences. I'd like to start by answering probably the most asked question during any webinar. Is this webinar being recorded? The answer is yes, it is being recorded. As a follow-up to this webinar, you're going to receive an email from me, and it'll have a link to access this webinar on demand. We encourage you to share that with others in your company and your network so they can all view this awesome webinar that's about to take place. To achieve the best audio quality, we have everyone listen-only mode today, but if you do have any questions at any time during the webinar, you can enter those via the question pane in your GoToWebinar control panel. And we'll address those at the end as we have time. Otherwise, we'll follow up with you and make sure that we get those questions answered. We are especially excited today to have our friends at Parature join us and be able to share with you amazing insights how companies are leveraging knowledge to provide customers with the right answers at the right time and ultimately creating customer experiences that are out of this world. You see, the key is the R in CRM, customer relationship management, is really about figuring out how to build great relationships with your customers. That's what matters, of course. Relationships lead to loyalty, and loyalty leads to growth and sustainability for your business. And how do you build those relationships? With amazing customer experiences, of course. Okay, I have used the word amazing way too many times to start already, but I need to just one more time to announce our amazing presenter today. Christine Zamuda is the sales director with Microsoft Parature. Christine has held several leadership and individual contributor positions at Microsoft, Yammer, and Mobile Oil. In her current role, Christine is responsible for the integration of the Parature acquisition from a Microsoft sales and channel strategy perspective for U.S. and international markets. Christine, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Andy. I really appreciate that awesome introduction. And we'll get going. So a couple things I try and impart when I'm spending time with customers is just give you obviously insight into what's driving the momentum around investing in customer service, so you're educated on where the trends are going and how your organization can take advantage of those. And also, it's really important to give you some practical hands-on tips that actually you can essentially do yourself in your own organization to get a sense of where your experience is today, as well as basically envision where you could go moving forward. And then we want to share a few customer stories to give you insights into how others like you are using Microsoft service solutions in market today, and then certainly open it up for Q&A, as well as give you a little bit of insight into the recent developments post-acquisition, which is no longer new news. We're about a year and a half in now, so we've got some updates on what has been done and how you can take advantage of that, really regardless of what CRM platform you're on today. So with that, I'll get started and set the stage. And this is probably of no surprise to any of us on the phone today, that as we are experiencing products, brands, and services, our life is really about those digitally blended moments. We live, through our devices, whether we are scheduling a service, inquiring about information, or just doing your day-to-day work. Those devices are really key to our gateway to our everyday work and outside of work activities. So the experience that you have when you are engaging is really critical and can lead to a lasting impression on that product, brand, or service. And I think it's important to understand those intersection points both from a customer perspective as well as from an agent perspective. And it's always fun to talk about customer service because everyone can typically relate to this, right? You are experiencing brands, products, and those experiences every day, and you have the opportunity to measure those based on how efficient the service was, your ability to get what you were looking for in an easy and consumable manner, and also, was the information relevant? Well, here's a little bit of stats to kind of help arm you with what's going on in most recent consumer research around customer service. And, first things first is that your experience when you hit a website, if that website is not responsive and basically is functional in a mobile browser, that is the sort of the first litmus test on whether the experience is going to be good and easy to engage. So that's always a great place to start. Secondly, we see that this trend in terms of customers' ability to self-serve is growing in importance. In fact, today 72% of customers would prefer to resolve their issue on their own without ever even talking to another human person. We want to get what we need and move on and be efficient. And actually, over the next year and a half, that trend is growing substantially. So to the tune of 85% of customers wanting to get what they need information-wise and move on their way. Now, from an agent perspective, there's quite a bit of challenge, right, in delivering that service. If you think about the typical agent, they're looking for information, they're in a time crunch, sometimes they've got either multiple chats happening or they've got an individual on the phone, and getting to the right information and really authoritative information is critical. And what we find, really for the first time since 2009, first call resolution is actually declining. And the challenges around that is getting the right information, getting a consistent answer across multiple channels, and who better to know whether the knowledge at their fingertips is actually servicing the needs but the agents themselves. And what we find most often when we're assisting customers in improving knowledge management and self-service capabilities is that the systems are pretty limited in their ability to approve content quickly, also to take in feedback from customers and transform that into knowledge-based articles, as well as understanding where the breaks in the process are. What information is performing the best in terms of avoiding support issues, and then where are the gaps in terms of making adjustments so that individuals can actually self-serve and never need to open a support ticket. So those are some of the things that are sort of driving the agent aspects of it. And as you can see from some of the stats, we all are likely information workers, so it's not hard to understand that a good portion of an agent's time is also searching for knowledge. But I think the most critical stat here is that 81% of them know that the knowledge they have today is not going to meet their future needs. So we have the ability to actually change that and take a lesson from what the research is telling us, and actually keep on top of even new channels that are entering the market. If you look at this Forrester research study, there's new channels entering our experiences every day. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we didn't have Facebook and Twitter. Now those are staples. Some of the newer channels that you see here are individuals using voice for self-service. So you'll see more proliferation of Cortana and Surrey and being able to leverage those in a customer self-service perspective. You also see using self-service by mobile as an increasing channel, which 2 years ago most people did not experience. But as you can see from the study, there are definitive jumps in certain channels that are more digital and accessible, and there are also new channels that we as businesses have to plan for and take advantage of. Some of the other increases you see, chat is up 15%, online forums, making sure communities help others answer questions, is up 19%, Twitter up 15%, and FAQs are up 9%. So if you take that all into account, where do you start, and what would be most helpful for your organization to get the most impact and then evolve your strategy over time? I think to think about that, this is a great graphical view that essentially shows that different channels have different engagement values, and that usage increases as brands improve their service on that channel, and then customers derive greater satisfaction. So some of the aspects here, if you look at it, there's the ability really, to have a low engagement level but high value. So as an example, self-service FAQs are a great place to start, just to quickly get your support costs down, improve customer satisfaction, and hopefully help customers through the engagement cycle really at their preference. If you remember those earlier stats about not wanting a human interaction until it was absolutely necessary. Chat is another example, which is pretty easy to implement with low complexity and high value from a customer perspective. We're not seeing much change from a phone perspective. That channel isn't going away anytime soon, but certainly the complexity around call routing and training those individuals, that doesn't change. So if you think about what could you do to lower your cost and ensure some of the repeatable questions are on lower cost channels, I think this graph gives you a really good at-a-glance view of some ideas to consider. So, but at the end of the day, the reality is still customers are looking for the knowledgeable source of information, whether that's self-service or an individual, and then we still, again, have that challenge of agents finding what they were looking for, as well as, from the earlier stat, 81% of them saying our current knowledge management does not meet our needs. So here's the first very practical tip. I love this tip because you don't need a consultant to actually walk in the shoes of your own customer through the web experience that you have today. So I encourage everyone to take a look at maybe one of your more prominent brands, something that from a company perspective is really imperative to deliver on, and ask a simple question through the web device and find out, first, was the experience mobile friendly? Did the website basically compress to the form factor that you would expect on a mobile browser? Secondly, did you find that the information was relevant? How sort of up in the rankings was your answer? Was it contextual? And then the third aspect is, did you have multiple ways to engage? Did you have the ability to chat if it was urgent? Did you have the ability to do an email ticket if you wanted more information and didn't find what you're looking for? Did you have the ability to interact with social? You know, our Generation X, which is becoming a even bigger part of the millennial, you know, buying power of the U.S., you know, they expect support to be within their social channel framework. So if they're in Facebook, they don't want to leave Facebook. They want to have that rich experience and have the organization follow them consistently and know who they are when they enter a support ticket. So, you know, I think that's a good sort of first exercise that you can do on your own, and then bring it back to your teams and share what you've learned. What we also like to help customers understand is what is the potential return on investment. And I think what's really interesting about cloud-based service solutions is the fact that these can be stood up very, very quickly, and we get, you know, the return on investment is very measurable and can essentially usually pay for other projects down the line that you were looking to accomplish as a result of the savings. So let me take you through some of the basics here. If we look at a typical inbound support solution, and this could be really any service solution. This could be an internal help desk where you are querying questions from employees on benefits, on travel, on, you know, maybe you have an IT help desk. This could also be an externally faced self-service solution where you're answering questions from customers or from suppliers. And what we find most often is customers will start with wanting to put phone and email tickets in a more digestible form through self-service. And what this requires is that you get a handle on some of the most frequently asked questions and expose that information on a portal so customers and your audience can essentially self-serve. So what we typically see on average, and this is the very first phase of our service maturity cycle, is we'll see typically a minimum deflection of 30%. So what that means is 30% of the inquiries did not go to a ticket. And we'll have the intelligence from where customers have traveled on the portal to understand what truly is a deflection versus what is just a search. And what our research shows is that on average the cost per incident is $20 or more, but we were conservative here. And as you can see, the monthly value of ensuring that customers could self-serve as opposed to entering support tickets and having those triage was $216,000. For 10 seats, which is a typical implementation of Parature, that's a great, you know, sort of starter solution, you're seeing a return on investment in less than a week. What we see over time is the information that's used from running customer self-service helps those organizations be even more proactive, and those deflection rates can grow to 60 to 80%, etc. So it can continue to prove benefits and provide yield in the out months of a project. So you can take this exercise, it's very simple, take it back to your team and figure out, well, where would we like to see reductions? You know, perhaps you have other channels that you're working on, or you want to introduce chat, etc. But these are, you know, just very simple metrics that can help you get started. So the next aspect is really talking about knowledge. And often when we start with organizations, one of the biggest challenges that we find is organizations are trying to debate, what is content, what is knowledge? And it's hard to do that without understanding how content can be utilized as what we call authoritative knowledge. And one of the research studies here that you see is that many organizations are challenged to keep their content updated so that it's current and usable. And then also they share that essentially they have no tools that would show them whether this is useful information or not. And that's what becomes really the beauty of an integrated solution, that you can not only see where customers are getting the most benefits, but you can also see where your gaps are. So what we share with many organizations that we work with is, hey, you don't have to import all your content on day one, but really start small and iterate. Figure out what are the most frequently asked questions and start there, measure, look to see where your results are, and then tweak it along the way. And then what can typically happen if you're using an integrated solution, you can get information on the next level down. And this is where things get really interesting. So we talk about the ability to measure deflection, and I shared that we typically see 30% deflection in that first phase. Here's an example really from a content perspective, and you can see where searches are and how many people actually viewed that content, and then see where your highest deflection rate. And a high deflection rate is good, which means the article is very relevant and it's not leading to increased support tickets. So in this example, advanced portal styling, seen by 4,900 and some people, had a deflection rate of 81%. Now, conversely, you're going to look at other examples here. The adding hyperlink example to a business objects reporting piece is not getting a great deflection rate. Only 14% of the people who saw that did not move on to do a support ticket. So we need to be more proactive in those instances. And then on the other side of things, you can see proactively what people are searching on and where escalations are happening relative to content. So that gives you a better idea of, hey, how do we populate some of these search terms in a more proactive way, either by tagging some content that exists already or creating new content to continue to improve self-service rates on our site. So I thought at this time it might be helpful to give you a few examples of customer success stories so that you can understand what the value is and give you some real life examples. The first one is Ask.com, a major search engine, and many of you have probably engaged with Ask.com at some point or another. Sometimes that engagement is willing on their fantastic search service, and sometimes it might be inadvertent if you have found your browser to be sort of permanently affixed, not permanently, but I would say inadvertently added the Ask.com toolbar to your browser. That was a real common challenge for Ask.com customers who engaged with the search engine via partnerships. And Ask.com needs to cater to so many different generations. You're catering to the young teenagers, even in some cases, what, 5th and 6th graders who have their first cell phone, all the way up to the golden generation who is becoming more and more technically savvy, but may need to have different instructions relative to uninstalling this toolbar. So when they installed the Microsoft Unified Service, what they found at first, they were a bit concerned because they actually thought their phone stopped working. The phone stopped ringing, and they even tested the line themselves to see what just happened, because they were surprised at the dramatic result. Additionally, they saw a very big reduction in tickets. As you can see there, 60% reduction of support tickets within 2 months. The agents working for Ask.com also found newfound freedom in being able to close tickets through their mobile device. So in the event that they were out of the office or traveling, they still had the opportunity to engage with the ticketing system in a mobile-friendly way. But I think the kind of most amazing stat is that there is one knowledge base article that's been accessed more than 6 million times, and that article on its own has delivered a $3 million return for Ask.com in support savings. So, these are the kind of business metrics that you can get behind. Additionally, what we see so often, and Ask.com is a great example of this, but customer service, as a result of what they learn from the customer experience, gets a bigger seat at the table, whether that's advising the product development team on what they're seeing in terms of trends, in terms of what the customers are asking for. Customer service really becomes very strategic in these organizations where they're using the tools to be more proactive. Here's another example, and this is Intelos Wireless, and Intelos is using both Parature and Dynamics CRM, and their business, has to be efficient from a self-service perspective. All of their customers using wireless devices and expecting the very best in customer care. So here's an example of what they had seen in some of their early days of using the solution, was that their frequently asked questions basically reduced by 40,000 calls a month, saving $140,000 a month. They also saw that an unexpected benefit was that the agents had a slower ramp-up time in terms of training. In their particular organization, they have a lot of turnover, so it was difficult for them to stay on top of policies, procedures, etc. But having this dynamic knowledge base really enabled not only Intelos to serve their customers in a more efficient manner, but also had their agents being more productive. And we hope over time that they'll also see reduced turnover as a result of just having more tools and hopefully less frustration from an agent perspective. So again, this is a nice example of return on investment in less than 90 days, and they'll continue to see additional results. As you can see there also from the portal perspective, and if you go to Ask.com's as well, the portal takes on the look and feel of your brand, so it's very seamless from a user perspective. So I mentioned that the acquisition happened roughly 18 months ago, and what has happened since then. We have seen increased integration to the Microsoft family, but I think it's also important for all of you to know that the Parature solution will remain open from an API perspective, so that we can continue to enable integrations to really any third-party platforms. So whether you are a Salesforce customer, Oracle customer, perhaps you want to build a self-service solution into your bug ticketing tracking system. We have a lot of software development companies who want to do that. Or you may have even built a homegrown solution that's core to your business process. We have the API and the ability to extend those solutions and ensure that you can make the most of those existing investments. So one thing we did do, though, is make sure that for the Microsoft customers and really any customer in 59 countries, that we would enable Parature to be purchased easily on the Commerce platform. So if you go to basically the Microsoft Office 365 platform and you had wanted to add any service, Parature is now one of those services. The other thing that we're working closely on is just enabling some out-of-the-box integration to be readily apparent from a Microsoft perspective. So if you are a CRM user and you can see the screenshots here, we do want to enable those agents to access knowledge in a way that's easy and ensures they don't have to leave their screen to get the answer they're looking for. So you see the screenshot here of Unified Service Desk exposing knowledge. We're interested also in taking this a step farther, and you see the view of the Outlook pane. So we've been working with many large enterprise organizations who want the benefit of their knowledge not only in their customer service applications, but also in Outlook. And when you think about this, if your employees are serving the public or even each other internally, often there are those repetitive questions or there are those sensitive questions that need consistency applied from an authoritative view. And that's a great place to have a knowledge base where an employee could start to write an Outlook email. Oh, I need the policy on X business problem. They search on it, they see the authoritative answer and can drag and drop that answer right in their email so that they are consistent and have accurate information as they do their day-to-day work. Here's another view of what the integration looks like within Dynamics CRM. We did modify the use rights for CRM Essential and CRM Pro to include knowledge, and I've got some additional updated information there for all of you, but essentially you can see that knowledge becomes one of the sort of panes here. So you see in the middle it's post, activities, knowledge-based records, and notes. So that, again, in this case, the agent can look at credit card interest charges, search on that, get some of the frequently asked questions, be able to answer it, and move on their way. Again, the idea being, let's make knowledge central to essential and accessible so that the agent has everything they need to service the customer. So here's just a quick snapshot of what Microsoft is bringing to bear from a unified service perspective. Spent some time today talking about the user experience and ensuring knowledge was present. Self-service is one of our very important anchor pillars, and you'll see that really in everything we do from a thought leadership perspective, from an R&D perspective. We've done a lot even over the last 18 months to ensure we have the most competitive knowledge base out there. And then the integration of cross-channel, so ensuring that regardless of which door a customer walks through, whether that's social, whether it's email, web, phone, that they have a consistent experience. And then backing that up with the proactive and really personalized opportunity to know, what people are looking for, to be proactive when we find gaps, as I shared with you earlier, as well as incorporating knowledge, self-service into your business process as opposed to the other way around. So most organizations find it very easy to implement, and again, great measurable results. So here's a little bit of background for those of you who are just being exposed to Microsoft's self-service background, or self-service, I should say, capabilities. We've got just a very robust install base across lots and lots of industries. And we're seeing even over the last 18 months that some of the newer customers are taking on, really what the Microsoft install base looks like. So we're seeing more financial services customers, more energy customers, utilities, etc. But I think the beautiful thing about this slide is, we have the best practices from both private and public sector, which brings to bear the opportunity for others to take advantage of those learnings very quickly and to essentially monetize and measure their ability to provide a better self-service experience. Here's a quick look at pricing. So this is just FYI. There is a special to the end of our fiscal year on the CRM Enterprise Suite, which includes everything from Dynamics professional capabilities for Salesforce automation, for marketing and service. And then I had mentioned earlier that we've modified our use rates for professional, basic, and essential to enable organizations who have already purchased CRM or who plan to purchase CRM in the future to take advantage of that knowledge component. We really believe that can provide quick value to customers and should be applied as part of the employee productivity and agent productivity plans for an organization. In the event that you did not own any Dynamics products, the Parature Enterprise solution is available, and you do actually need that to access even the knowledge within CRM. So that's considered the administrator license, which would enable you to customize portals, to publish knowledge-based articles, and set up users, etc. But it is all in one bundle, so that as much as possible, it's a simplified purchasing experience. So to wrap it up, hopefully some of the tips that we covered today will give you more to take back to your colleagues. You have some of the industry analyst statistics. You have the opportunity to walk through your own customer self-service experience through a mobile device, which I highly encourage. Would also suggest that you do some of the back of the napkin return on investment metrics to see how quickly a solution like this could pay off for your organization. And then would highly recommend that you spend some time with LedgeView. They are very, very knowledgeable and really one of our premier partners in market. We've got a number of case studies and videos and short demos if you want to see the Parature solution more sort of up close and personal, and LedgeView can help you with that. You can, of course, self-service on our website. So with that, I think we can take some questions if we have them. Go to the page. So Andy, I'm not seeing any.
Yeah, it looks like we're all set. Again, if anyone has any questions, they can send them in at any time and we can respond after the presentation as well. Christina, I just want to thank you for a great presentation today, and I hope that everyone has several takeaways from today's webinar. I do want to remind everyone as well that we will be sending you a recorded version of the webinar today, so watch for that in your email inbox. And I also invite you to our website at ledgeviewpartners.com to learn about some of the upcoming live events, webinars, and the access to other on-demand videos. And also keep an eye out for some of our upcoming webinars. We'll be sending out info on our next webinar that's going to be coming on June 24th soon. It's going to be a great presentation there, so you won't want to miss that one, so stay tuned for that announcement. Remember, you can also follow us on social media and subscribe to our blog, all from our website as well. So finally, if you have any additional questions on Parature, would like a full demonstration, need assistance, or are looking to expand your CRM functionality, just give us a call here at LedgeView and we'll be more than happy to help you out. The only thing better than a long-term relationship is meeting someone and starting a new one, right? So thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and have an amazing day.